Yesterday, Saraji compared Kilesa defilements to illnesses in the world. Most of the people in the world are afraid of illnesses. They are afraid of illnesses. And medical personnel, medical experts, they are finding the root causes of these illnesses. And they invent medicine in order to cure such illnesses. When the patients take the medicine prescribed by the physician, they are cured of these illnesses. Most of the people in the world, they give priority to curing physical illnesses. They are more afraid of physical illnesses, but they are not so much afraid of mental illnesses. Actually, mental illnesses, the defilements, are more frightening than physical illnesses. Physical illnesses are not the true enemy. They are not the true enmity. Actually, Kilesa defilements are the nearest enemy that are more frightening. Ordinary form of greed, extreme form of greed, and also anger, aversion, hatred, delusion are the internal enmity, and they are arising within oneself. These defilements are the true enmity, and they are the nearest internal enemy. So these internal enemies, which are the enmity defilements, are more frightening. So one should know the root cause of these defilements, and one should know how to cure these mental illnesses, how to cure these defilements. When one knows and makes use of the method how to cure mental illnesses, then one will be overcoming internal enmity. These defilements will become weaker and weaker, less and less, and finally they will be totally cured. When one practices in order to cure the internal enmity, what can happen is the internal enmity will get less and less, weaker and weaker, and also even the physical illness that one has been having can also be cured without taking medicine. So there can be amazing results where one can cure physical illness at the same time of curing internal enmity by practicing meditation. Yesterday, Saraji explained that the defilements are compared to illnesses. And Saraji also said yesterday that Buddha was compared to skillful physician. And Saraji said yesterday, Saraji will explain how Buddha can be compared to physician, skillful physician. But first of all, Saraji will explain about the mental illnesses, which are the defilements. Saraji has been explaining the stages of Kilesa defilements, such as gross, medium, and refined form of defilement. and Saraji will continue to explain on these defilements. When curing a disease, one should diagnose what kind of illness it is. In the same way, in order to cure the mental illness, one should understand about the types of kilesa defilements, the forms of defilements, the stages of defilements, and Saraji will give talk so that it will be easy for the yogis to cure these mental illnesses within short time, within a short period, easily. And Saraji today will explain what is kilesa and what are the types of these kilesa defilements. The word kilesa comes from the Pali word kilesa. It can also be called as sankilesa, where one can add this prefix san in front of kilesa and call sankilesa. Whatever it is, whether it is kilesa, whatever it is called, whether it is kilesa or sankilesa, the meaning is that kilesa are the things that can torment, that can burn and scorch. Kilesa has the quality of tormenting, torturing, burning and scorching. What things do the kilesa torment, torture and burn? So one should understand that there are two things. There are the things which torment, which burn, and there are things which are being tortured, which are being burnt. The things that are being burnt are the unwholesome mind that are associating with the defilements. Unwholesome mind that are associating with the defilements are being burnt, and thus they are called sankileta. So one should understand that there are two things. The first one is sankilesa, the things that torment, torture, burn and scorch. And the second one is sankileta, the things that are being tormented, tortured, the things being burnt and scorched. Kilesa defilements can torture, torment and burn. Kilesa has the quality of burning, torturing, tormenting and burning. Kilesa torment and torture. In Pali it is called pilana. It has the quality of tormenting and torturing. When the kilesa defilements torment and torture, there can be exhaustion. If there is no torturing, there will be comfort and well-being. When one is tormented, tortured by the kilesa defilements, exhaustion will follow. Here, the cause is tormenting, torturing, and exhaustion is the effect. Exhaustion effect will take place due to the cause, which is tormenting and torturing. So when one is tormented and tortured, there will be exhaustion. Kilesa defilements also has the quality of burning and scorching. When there is burning and scorching by these defilements, there will be heat. Burning. There will be burning heat. It is called Parilaha. Parilaha means burning heat. When one is burnt and scorched by these defilements, there will be burning heat. There will not be tranquility. There will not be cooling. But instead, there will be burning heat. So kilesa defilements are the ones that can torture and torment. And due to the torturing and tormenting, there will be no peace and no tranquility. The things that are being tortured, tormented, the things that are being burned and scorched are the unwholesome mind. The unwholesome mind itself can torment and burn, but it is said that it is the unwholesome mind that are being tormented, tortured, the unwholesome mind that are being burnt. When defilements, lobha, dosa, moha arise, and especially when extreme form of lobha, dosa, moha arise, then there will be agitation. And also there will be tormenting, torturing, burning, and thus there will be exhaustion. When the defilements are burning and scorching, there will be no peace at all. When dosa arises, there will be anger, hatred, aversion, and thus there will be no peace. The mind is agitated by dosa. When moha arises, there is not knowing wrongly, there will be delusion, there will not be any peace, but the mind will be agitated by delusion. When there is agitation of these defilements, the unwholesome mind that are associating with the defilements are also agitation. And when there are a lot of agitation, there will be no rest at all, and thus there will be exhaustion. Saraji gives an example. When the body is always in action without any rest, then there can be exhaustion of the body. In the same way, when the mind is always in agitation, always in activity with the defilements, at times there can be agitation with raga, at times there can be agitation with dosa, and thus the mind is always in action, always in agitation with these defilements, and thus there can be exhaustion. There will be exhaustion. When these defilements are burning, there will be no peace at all. There will neither be physical or mental peace. There will not be physical or mental tranquility. It is called avupasanda. Avupasanda means no peace, no tranquility. When the body is at rest, there will be peace, peacefulness in the body. In the same way, when the defilements are suppressed and calmed, there will be peacefulness in the mind. One should practice in order to suppress, in order to calm gross defilements, medium defilements, and refined form of defilements. And when these gross, medium, and refined form of defilements are totally abandoned, there will be peace and tranquility. When one practices 3 kinds of training, 3 kinds of sikha, sila, samadhi, and panya, then one can calm, suppress, and abandon gross, medium, and refined form of defilement. When these defilements are calm, suppressed, and abandoned, there will be vipassana, peace. So long as there are defilements, so long as the defilements are tormenting, burning, there will be avipassana, non-peace. And when one can overcome gross, medium, and refined form of defilements, there will not be any torment, any torturing, or any burning of these defilements, and thus there will not be exhaustion, or there will not be agitation, and thus there will be peace. Kilesa defilements, in brief, are lobha, greed, dosa, anger, aversion, hatred, moha, delusion, not knowing the karma and its effects, or not knowing the truth. In another word, not knowing wrongly is moha. In the text, it mentions 10 kinds of kilesa defilements. 10 kinds of kilesa consist of lobha, dosa, moha, and also mana. Mana is conceit, taking high esteem of oneself, being haughty. Conceit, pride, it is mana. Ditthi means wrong view. What really exists is nama and rupa, mentality and materiality. But one holds wrong view that there is jiva atta, individual soul, in oneself. And nama rupa are arising due to relevant cause. Relevant cause giving effect to relevant effect. But there can be wrong view that there is no cause. If one does not understand cause and effect through the practice of Satipatthana meditation, then one can also hold on to wrong view, believing in Creator, believing that Creator is creating things. So in this way, there can be wrong view, and such wrong view is called ditthi. If one does not know impermanence, one will take it as permanent. If one does not understand suffering, one will take things as good. And if one does not understand that things happen according to itself, one believes that one can do anything, not understanding that things are happening in its own accord. Holding wrong view is called ditthi. If one does not have the chance to associate with Kalyana Mitta, true companion, if one does not have the chance to listen to the Dhamma from Kalyana Mitta, then there can be wrong view, and one will not have faith and confidence on the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha but instead there can be skeptical doubt on the Buddha, on the Dhamma, and on the Sangha. When this happens, one will not be alert, one will not be active to perform wholesome deeds, and thus one will be lazy, sluggish, especially when practicing meditation. One can be lazy and sluggish in practicing meditation. There can be uddaca, distraction, restlessness. Ahirika is also one of the defilements. One should have moral shame and moral fear from doing misconduct. Ahirika is lack of moral shame. Anuttappa is lack of moral fear. It is compared to a person who is not disgusted to touch the iron ball which is dirty with feces. This is compared to ahirika, lack of moral shame. A person who is not afraid to touch the iron ball which is hot, it is compared to anuttappa, lack of moral fear. So in brief, the kilesa defilements are lobha, dosa, moha. And the text mentions 10 kind of kilesa defilements. But here, in brief, lobha, dosa, moha are being explained in main. Among the defilements, the kind of defilement that gives the most trouble to the beginning yogi, to the yogi who is beginning to practice, is tina mita, sloth and torpor. So sloth and torpor is the nearest internal enemy to the yogi who starts to practice. When practicing, in order to develop knowledge, in order to develop wholesome mind and knowledge, one should be practicing with diligent effort. But instead, tina mita arises. Tina, not wanting to exert effort, flinching away from practice, and mita, becoming exhausted. Tina mita can also be called dandi, meaning laziness. Tina mita, sloth and torpor, which is also called laziness, is the nearest internal enemy to the yogi who starts to practice. So yogi will sit down to do sitting meditation, and after a while, the mind can become sluggish and yogi goes into sleep, or the yogi starts to nod after some time. That's why tina mita is the nearest internal enemy. In the text, it is said that yogi should be attandito, meaning yogi should not be lazy. So Buddha encouraged yogi not to be lazy, saying the word attandito. In order to drive out tina mita, laziness, one needs to assert the opposite force in order to drive out laziness. One also has to exert overwhelming force in order to dispel laziness. So that's why one needs to assert two things, the opposite force and the overwhelming force, in order to drive out the laziness. When one has tina mita, Tinamita keeps the mind contracted and constricted. So it is called Ando Sankhepa. Because Tinamita can keep the mind constricted and contracted. Saraji gives an example of butter. When butter is kept cool in a refrigerator, it is hard and congealed. In the same way, when there is Tinamita in the mind becomes hard and contracted. In order to keep the butter warm, one has to take it out of the refrigerator, and the butter will no longer be hard. In the same way, in order to keep the mind spread, open and alert, one needs to apply the opposite force, which is Vitakka. Vitakka can be translated as thinking, but in the practice, Vitakka should be translated as aiming and directing. So Saraji says, when a person thinks a lot at night, the person will be wide awake, unable to sleep. This happens because of thinking. Thinking keeps the mind open and spread so that sleepiness cannot arise. So this can happen when a person is thinking a lot at night, the person has problem sleeping. So in the practice, Vitakka is translated as aiming, directing, and thinking will not be a good translation concerning with practice. So Vitakka can be translated as aiming, directing. One has to aim one's noting mind towards the object. When rising of the abdomen arises, one has to aim the noting mind, one has to direct the noting mind towards the rising of the abdomen, so that the noting mind will be concurrent. And when falling of the abdomen arises, one should aim one's noting mind, one should direct one's noting mind towards the falling of the abdomen. So one needs to apply Vitakka, aiming, directing, which is the opposite force of Tinamita. When the yogi is able to apply Vitakka, aiming, directing, then the noting mind will be concurrent with the object. Vitakka, aiming, directing is also one of the jhanic factors. One has to concentrate, one has to closely observe the object, observing the object, concentrated closely onto the object, it is called jhana. So when noting rising and falling of the abdomen, in order that the noting mind should be direct with the object, one should assert aiming, one should put aiming, focusing, directing the noting mind towards the object. So it is Vitakka. So Vitakka is the opposite force in order to drive out laziness. And whatever the object is, when doing walking meditation, whenever one lifts the foot, one should aim one's noting mind towards lifting, and when one moves the foot, one should aim one's noting mind towards moving, and when one drops the foot, placing the foot, one should aim one's noting mind towards placing. And also, when one is standing, one should aim one's noting mind towards standing. And also, when turning, one should aim one's noting mind towards turning. So in this way, whatever the object is, one should be noting with aiming, directing the noting mind towards the object. Even when opening, closing of the eyes, even when blinking the eyes, one should note it by aiming, directing the noting mind towards the object. When there is aiming, directing, when this vitakka is present, the mind will not be contracted. Vitakka, aiming, directing, can keep the mind open, spread, blossom, active, and alert. So it is said, Viparava, meaning vitakka, can keep the mind open, spread out, blossom, active, and alert. When there is Tinamita, the mind will be constricted. But when vitakka is applied, the mind will be fresh, open, alert, and blossom. So in the beginning of the practice, laziness is the nearest internal enemy, and one should assert vitakka, one should apply vitakka, which is the opposite force of laziness. And also, one should assert viriya, effort. Viriya is the overwhelming force in order to drive out laziness. Viriya, effort, should be applied, and it is not ordinary form of effort, but one should assert atapa viriya, ardent effort. One should not be cold, lazy in the practice, but one should assert ardent effort all the time, so that there will be ardent effort, alertness, freshness, ready to note the object. When rising of the abdomen arises, one should push one's noting mind towards the object with ardent effort. And when falling of the abdomen arises, one should assert ardent effort to note the object. Being able to assert ardent effort, atapa viriya, in the practice, kosaja, laziness, will be overwhelmed by ardent effort. In this way, in order to drive out laziness, one should apply the opposite force, which is vitakka, and one should also apply ardent effort, which is overwhelming force, in order to drive out laziness. So when one is able to apply these two factors, vitakka and viriya, aiming, directing the noting mind towards the object, putting ardent effort so that the noting mind reaches the object, then one will be able to note the presently arising object. When there is ardent effort, there will be no laziness. When there is vitakka, aiming, directing, the mind will be open, blossom, spreaded, and alert. So whatever the object is, one should be noting the object with aim and effort. Applying these two factors, aiming and effort, whatever the object is, then one will develop sati, samadhi, mindfulness and concentration. In order to develop sati and samadhi, mindfulness and concentration, one should be constantly applying vitakka, aiming, directing, viriya, effort. Applying these two factors, aim and effort, the noting mind will be concurrent with the object, and one will come to know the true nature. That's why yogis are encouraged to note every arising object with aiming and effort. At the beginning of the practice, Tina Mita is the nearest internal enemy. In order to drive out the nearest internal enemy, in order to have victory on Tina Mita, laziness, one should be noting with aiming and also ardent effort. If one cannot apply these two factors, aiming and ardent effort, then Tina Mita will arise and the yogi will not be making progress in the practice. The person will be tormented by Tina Mita. When Tina Mita overwhelms the person, it will not be worthy of giving up the sensual happiness in order to join this retreat. And as Tina Mita arises in oneself, one will also be losing Nikkama Sukha, happiness of renunciation, and other Sukha, other happiness which have guarantee. Entertaining Tina Mita, one will be losing sensual happiness and also other kind of Dhamma happiness that has guarantee. Losing happiness, there will be suffering. And Sayadaw gives an example. Fire leaves the fuel dark and dirty. And when the fire burns the fuel is left dark and dirty, useless. In the same way, when kilesa defilements are burning within oneself, the mind will be left dirty and polluted. When the mind is dirty and polluted, it will be inferior, and it can also make the person's life inferior and degraded. Sayadaw will continue to explain tomorrow. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.